In this video, we're going to go over MPRs. What are they, why are they important, and how do they affect a VA loan when it comes to property conditions. This is going to be a really important video, and hopefully I'm going to do it in a format that really help a lot of people have a better understanding of how VA loans work when it comes to property conditions. And this is a really big thing because so many buyers, so many sellers, and even so many real estate agents don't fully understand property conditions and how it works with VA loans. We're going to talk about MPRs. What are they? Minimum property requirements. This is how a VA appraiser appraises a VA property. We're not going to go over every single one of them, but we are going to talk about some of the more important ones, some of the ones that you're liable to see more often than not. I'm going to show you some pictures, examples, and what to expect. So let's jump right into it. To find these online, all you have to do is go to your search bar, whatever you're using, whether it's Google or DuckDuckGo, type in VA MPR, and probably the first thing you're going to pull up is Chapter 12, Minimum Property Requirement Overview. The VA has some strict set-in-stone requirements and standards when it comes to appraising a veteran's prospective home. Agents and sellers burned by the process often see it as punitive and arbitrary, but these measures are in place for a good reason. The focus of the program is ensuring the health and safety of veterans and their families. The VA isn't going to guarantee a loan on a home with major issues that could jeopardize the safety of its inhabitants. And this is something that you'll hear a lot of appraisers say when it comes to VA appraisals. Their job is to protect the VA and the buyers. Chapter 12, Minimum Property Requirements. Now, this is what you want to save to your computer. We're not going to cover each one of them because honestly, most of these will never apply, but I'm going to go over a few that you are liable to see and a couple of them that you might even think about that could pop up and cause you a problem. Let's touch on space requirements. All the VA says is each living unit must have sufficient space for living, sleeping, cooking and dining, and sanitary facilities. In other words, your house must have a kitchen and it must have a bathroom. Another one I want to talk about real quick is access and dealing with private road requirements. Now this does come up. I have it on a property right now and it has come up several times in my career. But to get a VA loan on a private road, you're going to have two things in place. First, a permanent easement, which generally is already in place. And secondly, you're either going to have an HOA agreement or a joint maintenance agreement, which we call a private road agreement amongst the neighbors. So if you have 2 neighbors or if you have 10 neighbors on this private road, each owner is going to have to sign the private road agreement to be eligible for a VA loan. I briefly want to mention number 5, encroachments. The MPR says the appraiser must report any apparent encroachments of the subject's dwelling, garage, or other improvements onto an adjacent property, right-of-way, utility easement, or building restriction line, and any apparent encroachment of a neighboring dwelling, garage, or other improvements onto the subject's property. If a VA loan is being used to buy a property, then a survey is going to be mandatory. Survey is going to bring out any type of encroachments, and you can see this example right here. This driveway is encroaching on the neighbor's property. So just a good example, but it's something that the appraiser is not going to be able to determine on their own most of the time. Number 8, special flood hazard areas. I want to mention here that if you're in zones B, C, X, or D, you're not going to be required to have flood insurance. And if you're in an area that does require flood insurance, then the VA is going to require you to have flood insurance. It's just that simple. 21, defective conditions, and this is a big category. They define it as conditions which impair the safety, sanitation, or structural soundness of the dwelling, will cause the property to be unacceptable until the defects or conditions have been remedied and the probability of further damage eliminated. The integrity of the envelope of the structure must not be compromised. Appraisals must be prepared subject to the repair of any defective conditions with the contributory value of the completed repair included in value. Examples of defective conditions include defective construction, poor workmanship, evidence of continuing settlement, excessive dampness, leakage, decay, and termites. Here's a couple quick pictures of some issues that would be on the subject to list they would want repaired. A mold spot, dampness in the ceiling, exposed wiring, busted window. Perfect examples of things that would be on the list to be fixed before they would sign off on the appraisal. Next, number 25, alternative energy equipment. And I'm talking really about solar panels. And the biggest thing I want you to get out of this is that if you lease the equipment, you're not going to be given any value on the appraisal. You have to own the equipment to be given value. Still get a VA loan, so that's not an issue. Topic number 26, roof covering. And this is a big one. Under A requirement, the roof covering must prevent entrance of moisture and provide reasonable future utility, durability, and economy of maintenance. Okay, under B deals with multiple shingle layers. And a lot of people ask, how many layers can you have? When a defective roof with 3 or more layers of shingles must be replaced, all old shingles must first be removed. The appraiser is not required to climb onto the roof. When the appraiser is unable to view the roof, the appraiser must explain why the roof is unobservable and report how the condition of the roof was determined. For example, a roof may be covered with snow, yet the appraiser observed no evidence of leaks or documentation was provided to the appraiser verifying the age of the roof. If available, other methods such as drones could be utilized to show the area. Here are a couple quick photos of a roof that needs to be replaced and exactly how it looks like. And this one's pretty obvious. One quick tip about roofs, always check for permits. Topic 30, swimming pools. 2 things you need to remember about pools. First, it must be secure, and second, it must be operable or it's going to be subject to on the VA appraisal. This swimming pool right here, you can see it's got a torn liner. It's not even halfway full of water. It's green, it's got algae. So this pool is going to be subject to repaired before the VA is going to sign off on the appraisal. The appraiser must report readily observable defects, including unstable sides and structure issues that would render the pool inoperable or unusable. Depending on the extent of the damage, the appraiser must prepare the appraisal report subject to the repair of the pool and include the pool in values and prepare the appraisal subject to permanently filling in the pool in accordance with local guidelines and regrading the yard if necessary. Number 31, burglar bars. Under A requirement, if a property has burglar bars, at least 1 window per bedroom must have a quick release mechanism unless there is an exterior door from the bedroom providing rapid egress. In other words, 1 window in each bedroom has to have a quick release mechanism installed on the bars or it's not going to pass a VA appraisal. One of the last topics we're going to talk about in this video is going to be number 33, wood destroying insects, fungus, and dry rot. This is probably going to be one of the biggest ones because a majority of all homes are going to have some form of dry rot. Typically, it's nothing more than a little bit of wood rot at the bottom of a door jamb, but this is enough to fail a WDO report, and it's enough to be required to be repaired by the VA appraiser before you can close on the property. Under A, apparent damage, appraisers must report any apparent evidence of wood-destroying insect infestation, fungus growth, or dry rot. The appraisal must be prepared subject to a wood-destroying insect inspection if any infestation or damage is apparent, and all damage must be repaired. Okay, one other tidbit. If you live in one of these shaded areas on this map, especially in the very heavy southeast area, you're going to be required to get a WDO report. The last thing I want to discuss before I wrap up this video is number 44, request for waiver of MPR repairs. So under Section A, waiver requested by a veteran. After the NOV has been issued, at the request of the veteran, VA will consider waiving MPR repairs if the following conditions are met. The request is signed by the veteran, the lender concurs with the veteran's request, and the property is habitable from the standpoint of safety, structural soundness, and sanitation. These requests should not allow for the veteran to waive MPRs that could result in safety issues with the home. Section B, inspection report. In support of the waiver request, while not required, providing an inspection report from a licensed professional who is qualified to assess the condition of the item in question will ensure the veteran is fully informed about the condition of the item. If the request is approved, VA staff will amend the NOV, removing the repair requirement. Since appraisals are prepared subject to repairs, VA staff may reduce the value by the contributory value of the waived repairs. If the contributory value of the repaired item is not material, the NOV may be issued without a change in value. Under Section E, escrow funds for completion of repairs. Depending on the nature of required repairs, it may be advantageous for the veteran to have the MPR repairs completed after closing on the loan. Lenders may hold funds in escrow for repairs to be completed after closing. However, all repairs must be completed and escrow funds distributed before the loan may be guaranteed by VA. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. If you haven't already, make sure and hit the subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, have a great day and thanks.